That's lame. I guess that's what it is. Thought you could change it. What's up, y'all? Like, you know what? I ain't even turn this little thing on. Difference. What's up, world? What's cracking? What's cracking? You know what I'm saying? Going live with y'all. Gotta give it a few minutes. What's going on? What's going on? Gotta give it a second, man. Morning. Feel me? Do you hear me? What's up? What's going on? What's going on? What's up, y'all? Kind of give it a few seconds, see if people join up, man. Just had my coffee. You know what I'm saying? Saturday morning, thinking about what to do today, what to conquer in today's day. You know what I'm saying? Thinking about that heavy. Creating. Always thinking about creating. Always. What's going on with y'all? What's going on with y'all? Live from young Indianapolis. Gotta give it 5 more minutes. Not 5 more minutes, just a few more minutes, man. You know what I'm saying? I hope the volume is these cicadas that be just so loud. I hope the volume is not like, or you can even hope this isolates that. There's like noise around here. I've never done live. I don't do live too often. So I just hope the sound is like, I hope this is isolating all of these cicadas around me. You know what I'm saying? What's up, y'all? What's cracking? What's cracking? What's cracking? Appreciate you for coming through, coming to the live. What's up, y'all? What's cracking? I appreciate that. What's the crown mean? What's up, y'all? What's going on? What's cracking? It's my first time going live for real, like really doing this. I'm just trying to understand if it's what's the crown mean. My bad. But what's up, y'all? What's going on? What's everybody's move today? What's the move today? You know what I'm saying? I definitely gotta go to the gym. That's the one move I gotta make. Say, sister. Nah, for real though. Good morning. For real though. That's real life though, man. Like you gotta be able to separate yourself. You gotta be able to break that addiction of the chaos because it is addicting. You know what I'm saying? You get so your brain gets so much dopamine from those negative reactions, man. It's hard to break from. You know what I'm saying? Like cigarettes or something, straight up. It's hard to break the process until you have to. You know, when they discard you and and you have to. You know, but again, from the title, like the narcissists make you great, man, because you start to realize these things that wasn't necessarily in your mind, in your just awareness for the most part. You know, at least that was my perspective for real. For real, I didn't really understand like for the most part. In order for me to grow past this, I have to separate myself from the ecosystem that I put myself in for this to happen to even begin with. Because for some reason, I felt like if I continue to do whatever work that it was over there, you know what I'm saying, to do, that this was going to relieve the stress, but it didn't. And to relieve the stress, it actually made depression worse, you know. And there was really nothing too much in my power at the time, or what I thought was in my power, which was nothing to even begin with anyway. So it just, you get lost in the concept of trying to figure out how to be this version of yourself that they'll never even validate. They'll never validate. You know what I'm saying? You'll chase that ghost, the ghost of the love bomb, the ghost of the goalpost, how they move the goalpost, you know, and they move that goalpost hard, man. They'll always move the goalpost. But my emphasis on the title is the reason why to make you great, because when you start to understand the links and the energy that you put into yourself to do for them, like, the thing is this: when you go through that length, you'll understand. At least for me, especially when I was going to the gym. I mean, when I was going, I still be going to the gym, but like when I started going to the gym heavy, I realized, dang, if I'm gonna go all out to jump through these fire rings, I can go all out on myself to change my body, because I was overweight when I got with the narcissist. I'm sorry, I was underweight, then got overweight. You know, so it was going through that transformation through my body and just my mind, and then dealing with all that, and then starting to make progression towards a better health and wellness life, you know, putting on muscle, stuff like that. When I started to understand that process, I started to understand, dang, I really have not been really taking myself serious. I have not been seeing myself as important for real, for real. That's why I said, like, how the narcissist will make you great, in the sense of, you'll see, well, dang, if I was doing this for the narcissist, I could do it to myself. You would translate that energy to yourself. That's what I'm saying. Appreciate you for coming through, Sarah. Appreciate you. You know, and it's it's the understanding of the habits. When you're building those self-awareness habits with the narcissist, that stuff translates when you separate yourself from the ecosystem and you put it into yourself. It's not to give them credit for it happening. It's just to give you the awareness that you can apply it to yourself. That's what I'm saying about how the narcissists make you great. You know, if that makes sense. And and to really be honest with you, like, you can really see a lot of progress uh, fast with the gym, man. I always say that, like, because your brain is a physical component of your entire existence as a person. You know what I'm saying? The thoughts is just thoughts and manifestations, and to whatever imaginary concept you have your perception of life type thing. So, like, the reality is, this is what I'm saying. When you work on yourself physically, it's going to work on your brain, which is a physical component, i.e., and then i.e., you know what I'm saying, the thoughts that you come up with throughout the day. That's why you can be in a better positive mindset. That's why I say get in the gym, because you'll directly work on your mind, and your mind will directly work on your thoughts. You'll indirectly uh, uh, build the mental resilience against the rumination. That's the thing. You got to go home with this stuff in your head. You know what I'm saying? You got to go home with this stuff in your head. You know, and the narcissists make you great because they put you in the habits that you need to get into in order to take yourself serious and take yourself to value your importance and your time, all that. And I appreciate y'all for coming through, man, and liking the stream. But yeah, the narcissist can indirectly make you great if you trust yourself. You know what I'm saying? That's why I say, like, when you leave, the hardest part really be like trusting yourself to think that way for yourself. But the gym taught me that I can do that. You know, when I got overweight and then got, you know, lean, I was like, yo, if I can do this, then I can work away from the rumination. Because I didn't like the rumination, man. I don't like that, man. I didn't like waking up like y'all know how it is. Having nightmares, man. Uh-uh. I used to hate that. Cold sweats, man, all that stuff. Man, sitting there thinking about that, worried about the nonsense, dealing with the nonsense. Like, you know, and the random hoovers. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. It just ain't enough money in the world for me to continue that kind of life with a person like that, to be honest with you. That's just the reality of it all. That's why I said the narcissists make you great because you become aware like who you decide to spend your life with. You know, you take it serious. You want to find somebody else that takes it serious. For real. You know, so that's just my gathering of it. You know, what I'm saying my perspective of it at this point in life. And I hope people can hear me. I still hope this like because it's a lot of sounds going on. So I really hope people can hear me. Maybe I might need to. That might be cool. But yeah, I really hope people can hear me. But yeah, they make you great. You know, you won't spend your time worrying about a bunch of other people who are in the same fashion either, though. Too either. That's another thing about how they can make you great because a lot of times you're still involved with narcissistic people you don't even know until you go through something like this and you start to be more aware about who you've been around, then you start to be like, dang, I'm friends with such and such, and still know such and such, and family such and such. Like, for the coworkers and all that, like, it's 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 not to think that everybody is. It's just so you can understand the separation between who is and who isn't. You know, I don't like spewing hate about the narcissists because I don't really like doing all that, but I am going to call the situations for what they are. You know. And but I'm also just not one of those like F the narcissist. I'm not doing all that. But I am going to tell you the separation between you and the narcissist, so you can understand what it is and what it's not. But it's not that what it's not is that you're not going to do low tier activities. What it is that you will do high tier activities. You know what I'm saying? Like keep up the great work, bro. Found you a week ago. I appreciate that, Galaxy Galore. That's what's up. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I really do. Um, I appreciate people just being joining the channel, man. Like this, it's one thing that I've realized about life up until this point. This is one thing that I've been starting to realize about life. It don't matter what gender you are. It don't matter what race you are. We all dealt with a narcissist. It's like when I be reading these stories, and especially coming from my own, I'd be like, dang, everybody from all walks of life, and they know exactly what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? Like that stuff be tripping me out. I'd be like, dang, ain't nobody safe. It don't matter if you guy, girl. It don't matter if you Spanish, black, white. It don't matter if you live in Russia, you live in USA. It don't matter if you got money, you celebrity or not. If you're dealing with a narcissist, you know exactly what we're talking about. It don't matter. Nobody's safe. You know what I'm saying? That's the craziest thing. And I'd be sitting here reading this stuff and just people just all walks of life, all different cultures. And we can all relate. Wow. That's just something my own perception, you know what I'm saying, at this point. But because I used to think like most people, um, this is only happening to you. You know what I'm saying? I have to start sending it. Won't be reached out anymore. He needs to come and get the rest of his things. Is is Yoda? No, for real. I'm sorry. I'm making sure I was reading it right. No, that's good. Like the no contact is vital. If you can, if you're in a situation where you can go no contact and you separate yourself from them, distance yourself from them, and that's it, and you stand on that, that's gonna set you a little further in your healing journey because you're making the active choice to do what's necessary. Most of the time, like some people, the no contact can happen not by choice. Something's gonna make y'all have no contact. You know what I'm saying? I rather you make the choice than the situation make you have no contact. So yes, that means you're very aware of your what needs to happen for your healing journey. You know what I'm saying? Like I wish somebody told me that. I wish somebody told me that, man. Just make the choice. You know what I'm saying? But situations make you have to make the choice. When you're forced to make the choice, it's gonna be a little bit harder. I feel like, as far as my perception, at least. So that was my area. What's up? What's up? I appreciate you. Appreciate you. I appreciate y'all, man. Really do appreciate y'all coming through. But the narcissists make you great. They make you aware of a lot of shit, a whole lot of shit, a whole lot of shit that you necessarily wasn't really thinking about because when you with the narcissist, this is another. God damn it. Sorry, God dang it. This is another thing, man. You live on autopilot with the narcissist because they think for you, and you do whatever it is that they're saying in complete submission, right? So what I'm saying is like when you leave them, the reason why I always feel like it's so hard to start the recovery journey is because when you leave them, you haven't thought for yourself for so long. And I know I said this in a video before too, but you just haven't thought for yourself for a long time. But when you start to rebuild the habit of thinking for yourself, that's why narcissists can come back to you and try to hoover you because they know that you're thinking for yourself now. You know what I'm saying? You've developed your own sense of awareness when it comes to the narcissist, and the narcissist taught you to be aware of who they are by based off how they was treating you, just based off how everything, the output occurred. That's why I be saying about like the narcissist made you great. They made you great indirectly, and they didn't know that. They didn't know they was going to wake you up to a version of you that is going to be in fear of. That they was going to have to have an ego injury when you go no contact by choice. When you say I'm done dealing with you, you know what I'm saying? It's a narcissistic wound because they can't get that control of you no more. What they say doesn't matter, and they know that. For sure, for sure. But I wish somebody had told me that. I caught the wisdom late. I didn't, but well, I really didn't even really again, most of us didn't know that we were getting involved. Who we were getting involved with. I didn't really catch it. And I feel like I caught it too late. That's why I said like, if somebody had told me just make the choice to leave, I wish I had done that versus trying to make it work, making it worse for myself in my mind mentally afterwards to have to deal with and have to fix. Because it's a process. It's a process to fix your mindset, man. It's a process to undo everything the narcissist taught you to be like when you in that no contact phase, because that's that withdrawal state for a little second. You might have withdrawals for like a month where you are having nightmares. You know what I'm saying? But what I'm saying is when you're going through those moments though, um, a lot of that stuff teaches you that you have to change. You gotta change. You gotta not stop having. You gotta stop having these nightmares. You know that. That's why I be saying like indirectly the narcissist makes you great because you got to change in order for you to get this stuff out of your head. You got to live with your mind and your body at the end of the day, just you. That's why it's important to work on yourself. That's why it's important to work on your health because I say that a lot of this, a lot of the recovery is just a lot of the recovery is really like just bad mental and physical health. Does that make sense? I'm not trying to like be mean, but it's like when you're dealing with a narcissist, you pick up a lot of bad habits that's unhealthy. You know what I'm saying? Alcohol, overconsumption of junk food. I'm being for real, for real. Like I'm not trying to be off the chain. I'm just keeping it stacked. Uh, let me finish this thought real quick. But yeah, I'm just keeping it stacked. When you start to eat better, your mood actually understands. Like your body, when you consume food, you're consuming information, and your body's going to listen to the information. So if you're giving it bad information, it's gonna show bad information. You're gonna feel bad information. You're gonna talk bad information. You're gonna think bad information. You're gonna absorb bad information. You know what I'm saying? It's so serious like that. I promise you, it's so serious. That's why I said it's so key. When I got into the gym, it was so key to my journey because it got spiritual. Yeah, I started understanding more about the blood. When you get into the realm of paying attention to yourself like that, getting aligned with yourself. That's what I mean about the key of how they made you great indirectly because you have not been doing those kind of things for the most part. You know what I'm saying? Not really understanding your value for real, for real. You find your value when you start to align with yourself and align with things and things that make sense for your ROI. That's what I'm emphasizing. 4 years of relationship, it took more than 7 years to lose it. 11 years out. Oh yeah, the time involved with narcissists and put in with narcissists, man, like that's really the true dagger because it's the time you spend. You spend a lot of time trying to figure out, deal, whatever the case may have you. Like you spent a whole lot of time, a whole lot of time. And to be honest with you, it's like it's a slap in your face, for the most part, because you can't get that time back. But at the same time, I keep saying time like that. Use that block in your life, of period in your life, as a chapter to learn from. Again, you got to change your perspective on all of it. For me, I take that chapter of my life to learn from. If I need to go back and look at something and to analyze on how to not be like that and or make it better here going forward in my life, with interactions with people or thought processes or whatever the case may have you, like you got to have the intro and retrospective to understand how to grow from it and just let it be that it happened. It was messed up. I got it. Trust me, I had mine. I trust me. You know what I'm saying? But you can still learn from it. Whenever I put information into these videos or tell anybody anything that I consultate, like with my one-on-one calls, I come from my experience and how I learned it and how I understood it and give my perspective. But I never would have even got to all this had I not just had the courage, because it does take courage to look back on these moments where you felt messed up and you feel like it was over with when the discord and evaluation and how they talk to you, and how you accept what they told you about your reality is and your perspective of it is off because you're crazy and insecure and all these things that they've done to beat you down mentally. So I understand how rough it can be, but just know this: when you align with self the way that you need to, spiritually, mentally, physically, when you start to do the things necessary to align self, that's when it starts to trigger the the incline of your progress on your healing journey. Real for real. You know, the time spent with the narcissist is just a chapter in a book for you to reread if you need to reread that, just to understand what happened. You don't have to relive it. You just learn from it. That's my perspective. Though. I try to make it simple enough to where I can continue to have positive thoughts without trying to ruminate about some stuff that I never had closure with. The closure is that I can learn from it. I mean, that's how I figured it. However, there is other understandings, nuances, and things of the nature of information that gets back to you on the grapevine. So you start to be like, oh, okay, so that's what it was. And then when you hear uh, other people's stories, because this is another thing too. When you hear other people's stories and stuff like that too, you can start to understand pieces where the in between parts where the narcissists I didn't even know, I didn't even know they'd be yes, because then you start to understand what had happened because you never really truly figure out the truth for real, like you're not, but however, from what you've seen in the actions of what happened, and then when you see other people's stories of what was similar, you can kind of see where okay, so that was what's going on. I see that a lot when people comment on my videos and they're like, I didn't even know, you know, because you can piece, now you can take my story and you can piece the plot holes in your story that you didn't know about. That's my perspective of it. And again, that's how the narcissist makes you indirectly. The narcissist can make other people they don't even know indirectly great, because look at the stories that we share. That we get these pieces of information from, especially when I'm telling my stories and y'all like, dude, I didn't even know. So that's just my take on it. That's my understanding, or what I've become to understand, at least. And it can be uh, a ride. And what I mean a ride, like, it's going to be up and down. Your entire progression on your healing journey is going to be up and down. Because there's going to be days where you're going to feel like, dang man, you feel like you you got to figure out this situation that you don't need to figure out anymore, or try to contact them and ask them about what happened this one time or this one time, or like accepting the Hoovers. Like, I know it can be that your progression, your healing journey is going to be up and down. You know, if the moment that you get into um, solitude, it's gonna be up and down. It's gonna be days where you don't feel like it, and it's gonna be days where you're gonna be hype about it. It goes up and down. You know what I'm saying? It go up and down. There's gonna be days you don't want to do this. There's gonna be days that you might cry. It's gonna be days you're gonna have nightmares. It's gonna be days you're gonna have positive, happy dreams. But you get to a level of clarity at some point out of the mental fog. When you're in that mental fog of dealing with the narcissist, after that, it takes a lot of work to get out of that, to walk out of that cloud. That mental fog is crazy because you believe everything is how they showed you. You know what I'm saying? Like, there is no room for what's normal at that point. However, again, when you build the necessary steps and you get into alignment with yourself, normal becomes normal again, the right normal, not the crazy normal. Questions aren't absolutely my opinion. Yeah, you'll never be able to out talk a narcissist for real, for real. They're gonna word salad you anyway. You're gonna get tired. I don't know about y'all, but my experience is this: I get exhausted. I just like, you got it, because I know there's never gonna be an answer. You're gonna deflect so heavy. I can't. You're gonna deflect so heavy. I can't. I get sick of it. I just like I stop. If I feel like if it's somebody that's gonna continue to deflect so heavy in conversations like that, I just don't. You got it. You got it, bro. That's what my daughter said. He said, "You got it, bro." Yeah, they'll never. Um, they'll always answer you indirectly for the most part. You can be as direct as I don't see what. And you can be direct as an arrow. You know what I'm saying? Direct as a head, a point blank shot. They're gonna deflect it. They can't. They can't. There is no intro and retrospection with a narcissist. They cannot see themselves and also become aware of themselves like that to answer those kind of questions. You know, it's sad truth. That's another reason why I say they make you great indirectly, because you become aware of how people talk to you. You know what I'm saying? You become aware of who you can have real conversations with, because you start to dissect and piece communication skills. I'm not saying everybody's a narcissist, but I'm just saying, like, you get that awareness on how to understand who has communication skills and who doesn't. People in general. You know what I'm saying? So when you're talking to you're trying to date people and stuff like that, you can understand who has communication skills. It's not most of the time when people talk about in relationships that somebody, when they're trying to date, have bad communication skills. That's because that person has become aware of a narcissist and become aware of themselves. I never, whenever I see posts like that, I'll be like, I understand what y'all mean, because it's not to be mean, and you're not trying to think high of yourself. You just understand, like, you become aware of a narcissist and you become aware of what good communication skills look like. So if you're saying people ain't got good communication skills no more, you're right. A lot of people, but the narcissist makes you become aware of your own communication skills as well, because obviously how you were communicating to the narcissist wasn't translating enough for them not to treat you that way, or for y'all to already be separated. You know what I'm saying? But you just the compliancy of just taking it. You know what I'm saying? If that makes sense. But that's just my understanding and perspective of it at this point, going through it. listening to people's conversations or consult when I have my one-on-one calls and just understanding like, dang, it's the narcissist is gonna talk to you however, whenever, whatever, with the same way, just different wordage. You know, to whoever they need to be have that kind of mask for to communicate like that. But again, you become aware of the communication skills on how people talk to you on a daily basis. You know what I'm saying? Especially at work. Narcissists at work is a wild one too, though. That's a lot of those situations you really can't control too much, depending on what the circumstance is when it comes to your this life survivability. You know, you might have to endure that just because who else is hiring type ordeal. But if you can leave. That's the separation. The put yourself in a different ecosystem, man. You know, the narcissist is really good at making you think that you have to continue to stay in that ecosystem that you're in because you get engulfed in the indoctrination. Like I always say, you know, the more people that can get involved in under that system, the more they'll be peaceful. And you get used to trying to fight for that peace to be in a habitat with narcissists. You know what I'm saying? Well, you don't even need to be there. A habitat, no, that's not it. You don't even need to be there. Again, make that indirectly making you great because you become aware of what you shouldn't endure. Absolutely, my opinion. Their communication is so effective at the beginning. I'm about to. Their communication is so effective at the beginning because they listen to you. They hear how you react. I know this is like basic human skills. I know you communicate with people because everybody, cause there's are genuine people. I'm just saying when the chameleons show up, the narcissists show up, they mirror you. They want to mirror how you talk. You know what's funny. I'm just it's I know you're just gonna have to vet people, but no, they're really good at being the chameleon and mirroring you with their communication. You know what I'm saying? The love bombing, the good morning text. But then you notice the difference when it disappears, when it stops. You do notice that. You know what I'm saying? Learning you. Absolutely. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? They learn you. They learn you so they can learn how to break you or try to. Or to be successful at it. You know, it just depends on who it is that's dealing with the situation and how severe or how mentally resilient the individual is. But they effectively communicate to you that they're the safest thing that you can possibly ever have in somebody else. And once they get you into that mode, and again, there's genuine people that you can genuinely be like that. But the narcissist is that chameleon who's gonna do it for their own benefit. It's just what it is. It's a cold shot. Cold shot. It's cold shot, straight up. Because you have you ever noticed when you start to see the mask slip, you'd be like, dang, I thought they were like what happened? But they expect you to still be the same way that you were at the beginning. Yeah, it's a wow, it's a cold shot. Cold shot. You know what I'm saying? It's a cold shot because they're gonna play, they're gonna weaponize what's genuine and what's supposed to feel genuine. There's nothing you can really do about it, to be honest with you, except if you can notice the signs a little bit early, then you can also understand and remove yourself. But if you got the wisdom, if you don't got the wisdom, you probably gonna, like most of us, go through the process of getting a relationship with them anyway. So it's just one of those moments. That's why I say, like, I believe in divine intervention. Things are supposed to happen. What is supposed to happen? That was supposed to happen to me for me to wake up. God was telling me to wake up, bro. You know what I'm saying? So at least that's just my understanding of it at this point. I know that's silly, but that's just how I feel about it. But it's just, God told me wake up, wake up. You're entirely more important than what you are telling yourself, sir. You're not a doormat, sis. You're not a doormat. You know, so it's just, again, I took it as I had to wake up because I didn't. And like I said, when I started to wake up and do things that would actually serve myself, I was able to pour out of a full cup to people around me, my family. You know what I'm saying? Over 10 years, dang, I'm kind of mad at myself. I wouldn't be too mad at yourself, man. It's just what it is. It's a learning experience. You gotta change your perspective on that. Like I was talking to my homie the other day. I coach him too. I was just talking to my homie the other day about. I was like, you gotta change your perspective on that, man. You gotta change how you view that those times and how long you endured it. You know, it was to teach you how to put 10 years into yourself for real, for real. That's how I'll be taking it. You know, whatever amount of years that you spent dealing with the toxicity, that's the same amount of years that you need to take that same amount of energy you put into them onto yourself. The next amount that's equivalent. That's how I feel about it. You know, the perspective change because you can't undo what they've done. It's just a perspective. What's going on, Crystal? What's cracking? What's cracking? What's cracking with you? I told you I was gonna go live. I told you. I said, let me wake up and go live today. I just said this. You know what I mean? But no, it's to be it's to make you aware, man. It's to make you aware of what it is and what it's not. God is working. Amen. I know that's right. I know that's right. God is working. Amen. You hear me? But yeah, he definitely woke me up. Like that experience with God was supposed to what he woke me up with narcissists. You know, like you're a lot more important, sir. Again, I'm a true believer in that most breakthroughs and transformations will come from pain anyway. I will come from pain anyway. Like that's the true catalyst into your next level or next tier to your yourself actualizing who you really are, moving with a purpose in this world, in this reality. You know, I'm a true believer that the pain is the catalyst of that. So you have to go through something in order to start to understand the next level. Otherwise, it's kind of like a docile mindset for the most part, as far as like how truly, how much energy you truly have in believing in yourself. You know, trusting yourself again after the narcissist. And God wake you up to all that, man. He really do with that situation. You know, if you watch these kind of videos and stuff like that, man, you listen to this kind of information. This is God. You know, because at first it was the same way. When I remember when I first started and I started catching a whole bunch of like wisdom watching videos and stuff, man. Because I didn't really understand what I went through at first, and I was like, dang, man, that was supposed to happen. There's no way there's no way that version of me is going to be in the mental space to understand what my purpose is in this moment right now. Had that had not happened, straight up. And so when I started to understand that concept, man, that's when I was just like, I started taking it serious. You know, start taking it real serious. I started to understand, you know, any survivor after these situations, you have a purpose. You have a purpose. Move with a purpose. You have intent. Move with intent. You know, again, all walks of life, guy, girl, race, whatever. We all walks of life. We all dealt with the same thing. And I'm just like, wow, across the world, everybody. You know, I'm from the hood, so you know, in my mind, it's like it's wild to me because when I was going through it at the moment, I was like, dang, people from anywhere, nobody's safe from narcissists. You know what I'm saying? Because they're good at being chameleons. But again, when God wakes you up to what's happening and you catch that wisdom and you start to grow, but you have to accept it. You know what I'm saying? You have to accept the pain to get the wisdom. I hope that wasn't loud, man. That was loud. That car was loud in the mud. You feel like you have a block up, and everyone has the traits. Yeah, that's quite normal. When you got a relationship that you think that everybody's narcissistic, you think everybody's going to manipulate you the same way. It's quite normal, guy or girl. You know, like it's just I see a lot of content that kind of like does the one sided thing. No, it's everybody goes through this. Listen, I remember how I thought everybody was. I'm saying, man, everybody out to get me because you didn't realize, like, especially the people that aided with the narcissist. So it just your your perspective based off what you've seen, you think is going to continue somewhere else. So, yeah, I had a block up for a second, but also I had to understand this too. I got to be able to get over this fear of trusting people. I got to be able to get it because if I can't, because I already don't trust myself. So first off, I got to trust myself to be able to trust people. That's I feel like the barrier in that one, in that connection is for most people at the beginning. But yes, I did feel that way because it is quite normal. It's normal to feel that way, but again, you got to work on trusting yourself to trust people because you fragile. You almost in an infant state after the narcissist because you haven't, again, like I mentioned, you haven't thought for yourself for quite some time. Narcissist thought for you. It's easier. Just human psychology. It's easier to be told what to do than be able to think for yourself. Like true life. So the narcissist understands that. They may not understand it on that kind of like super mastermind level, but they understand that I can think for people, and they just abuse it. So that's just what that is. That's why it feels like that. And you gotta be able to have that autonomous behavior to think for yourself. And once you get in the rhythm of thinking for self, then you can start trusting yourself to trust other people. Because if you trust your actions, then somebody else is doing that, then you can be like, oh, okay, we align. The narcissist is just really good at being a chameleon and manipulate you. And it's just kind of what it is, to be honest with you, as long as you can catch the signs early. But do you feel the narcissist? I was gonna make a video about this, man. I was gonna make a video about what you said about the narcissistic. I think I might have a video. No, I need to post that. The narcissistic household. So this is how I feel about it. I know because it's a very delicate situation because this is my understanding of narcissism in general. This is my true understanding of it. This is what I'm gathering. We're all narcissistic to a degree. It's just those lean into it more than others because you know you got to think about self. So we got to believe in self. So that would be by definition a narcissistic trait, but in a way where you need to be so, right? Good traits, bad traits, narcissism, um, the bad traits, the people that know that they can abuse it to get others to manipulate for their own benefit. That's what I'm saying about the leaning forward into it. So like growing up and I'm only saying this because I had to believe in myself that I didn't want to be like this as I get older, dealing with a household full of narcissists that were off the chain and always reactionary. And I don't have, why are you acting like this towards people? Thinking that thinking that chaos is normal. I knew I didn't want to. I felt like this wasn't right, but I also accepted that this is normal on how people react. No, when I go to my friend's house and cousins' houses, their parents is not acting like this. So I just kind of conceptualized early, not saying like I didn't know what narcissism was, but I knew this can't be normal. Ain't no way. But I also got to accept that it is normal because this is my bloodline. It's just what it is. But also being trained into believing that this kind of chaos is normal because you see it so much. You get new relationships that look just like that, and you think that it's okay. Straight up, there's a lot of people that do that. It's a lot of people, a lot of kids a lot of kids who grow up in that and continue to think that being treated like this is normal because it's always been this way. They have no other idea outside of that, and I didn't either. So that's why I said, like we said at the beginning about a block up, because when I would run into women that were actually genuinely nice to me, I didn't know how to take it because I was like, whoa, wait a minute, what you mean? You know what I mean? Because that's not normal. And again, not normal is not normal to you because you haven't normalized it. Chaos is normal to you, you know. Let me see. So you just said something. Absolutely. I love my parents. I'm gonna just say that, but also at the same time, I am gonna say this too. Uh, Yeah, you typically date the people that are of your parents. So you typically find the woman that is like your mom. You typically find the man that is like your father. It's a cold shot. It's a cold shot because when you and this is why it's always like it's important for parents. You know what I'm saying? Me being a parent myself, it's important to, just my opinion, to try to be the best example you can in front of your kids because they exhibit what they see as far as like what's normal. I knew, like I said, when I was a kid, this is not normal. I'm not doing this when I become a parent. This is what we're not doing. You know what I'm saying? But I knew how my position was going to be as a parent. What I couldn't separate was what was a good mother to or somebody to build with. You know what I'm saying? I didn't really accept that, so I'm dealing with women that are just like her, who talk like her, who do this, and I was accepting a lot of that, grooming myself and building that habit into thinking that this is, oh, this is just how she is. Because you ever notice where you be like, oh, this is how he is. He just be like that. That's just what he be doing. That stuff you can't. That's not normal. It's just normal for you to accept that because you've been accepting it as a kid. The way your father would say this or act like that, or the way your mom would say this or act like that, you've been dealing with that. So now that you see these traits of the people, you think it's normal, and it's not. It sure ain't. Because when you start to really understand what healthy relationships are, you start to be like, oh dang, this really ain't normal by no means. It sure ain't. It's not normal. But you tend to date your parents for the most part. You sure do. And when you really find genuine people that are actually nice, it's not normal to you, and it can be scary. So I got it. Trust me, but you got to be able to trust yourself, to trust people that they don't have to always. They're not always going to be like the narcissist. That's my understanding of it at this point, of just my own research, my own journey, spiritual, physical, mental. That's just my understanding of it at this point. So yeah, for real. Yeah, I appreciate that, man, because it took a long time for me to really like be able to dissect my childhood too. So going through my situation made me look back to my childhood like, man, that's why I be saying in these videos, it's the small nuances that people overlook, that where you be like, dang, that's when it happened. My mom used to be very much a goalpost mover. Nothing was ever like great enough. I remember this one time I wrote this. There used to be when I remember second grade. There was this event called Young Authors, right? And Young Authors, you pretty much you illustrate your own book as kids, and you write your own book. So Space Jam, I don't know if you ever seen Space Jam back in the day, but Space Jam had just kind of came out. So I had made a part two of it in a book. Before LeBron did part two, I had already made a book of it, right? But this, I'm just telling you, true life. So what happened was the book ended up getting into the Children's Museum because they thought it was that good of a book. So they picked like the top four books from that school, and one of my books was one of it. But I didn't understand how serious it was. But apparently, it was a big deal, and I didn't really conceptualize how deep it was. I just won my year supply of RC Cola and free tickets to the Children's Museum. But anyway, my mom was like, "Oh, whatever, that's what's up." And people was like, your son is like and she was like, oh, that's okay, that's what's up. Like it was never, nothing was ever really good enough for her, no matter how, whatever it was that I was doing, nothing was ever never really good enough for her. She just moved the goalposts and or just don't even acknowledge the fact that I've done anything. So I got used to just doing stuff and not really talking about it, and or you don't need to care about it. So again, you take those traits and those habits into relationships. You don't really talk about your achievements because you don't think that it's that big of a deal or that importance. Because the narcissists are also this too. They also weaponize your achievements against you, just like your mom, just like your parents would too. They'd be like, "Oh, okay, so you think you this, and you try like this." They always try to weaponize that kind of thing. Your emotions against you. They just want you to do what they want you to do, how they want you to do it. At the end of the day. And again, you take that mindset and that you take that skill set the narcissist has given you into relationships. That's why it's so hard to undo that. know what I'm saying? That's my understanding of it. But yeah, I'm gonna definitely do the narcissistic household, the narcissistic upbringing in general. We're not even just talking about household, we're talking about family members too. You know what I'm saying? Family members is rough. I've had some wild. The family members is rough. But it's a lot of covert narcissists in your family, and you won't even ever know about it until you really get older and start to understand. Oh, that's why such and such don't even go around such and such. I got it. You don't. You never understand those dysfunctional relationships until you get older. And you be like, oh, that's why. Got it. Got it. Cold shot. It's cold shot. You know, it's sometimes it's a blessing and a curse to become this aware, because it's a blessing because you can prevent mental harm to yourself and to other loved ones who are willing to accept the information. It's a curse that you can't unsee who people that you love that are like this. It's just you be like, wow, you just gotta accept for what it is. Yep, jealousy and envy. You know, you just gotta accept for what it is. And, you know, it's rough. I never speak on these moments like better than or teach people to be better than. It's just for you to understand the separation of you and somebody who don't care about doing people wrong, who doesn't have that level of empathy, that can to be able to conceptualize what compassion really even is, what it consists of. You know what I'm saying? Besides being compassionately driven with, I don't know, endorphins for thrill. You know, oh my God, let me do this crazy thing. Let me do something off the chain. Jazzy J. Yeah, it, I'm telling you, when you're dealing with narcissists and you've grown up around them, it's a high chance you're going to continue to date narcissists because you don't know how to. It's me too. You don't know how to not see red flags of narcissistic people. You don't know how to not see that, or I'm sorry, you don't know how to see that because these are chameleons. So when normal people and then narcissists mimic normal people, you don't even know, but the narcissist is gonna slip in a couple nuances to start grooming you a certain way. You know what I'm saying? So when you got a lot of narcissistic people in your family, all that stuff looks normal because this is all you know. You take that into the real world and you see people who are like that. They know how to find people like that and prey upon people like that on their mindset and suck their energy up like a battery on some vampire shit. I said that in the last video. You know, it's just to drain your energy at the end of the day. And it's the only time it ever lasts is if the person that they get with is truly a codependent individual and doesn't and truly won't even accept what this is. They don't have to necessarily be narcissistic either. They just want whatever it takes to keep somebody around. There are relationships out here like that too as well. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately. Mm-hmm. My opinion, hidden agendas. You know, how long can you feed the narcissist imaginary world? You know, you ever see a gumball? The imaginary world of gumball? That's what it is. Like the wild characters and zany characters. My daughters used to watch that. That's why it just makes me think of that. But it'd be the wild zany shaped characters doing with these wild zany shaped personalities. If you can't, how long can you sponsor that sponsor that whimsical mindset of theirs? Appreciate that, Jazzy. Right. But yeah, if you can sponsor, if you I keep saying sponsor because that's what it is. You have to fund, whether that's financially, emotions, good time, play the role, be in their play. You have to fund their imaginative idea. If you're not doing that, that's when it's not just not going to work. They're not going to keep you around. They're going to be bothered of you because they know that you know. They know you know the mask is not real. They know that, and they're going to be bothered that you know that. So that's why they try to get you and substitute you. It's a cold shot. you know, but it sucks. And your narcissistic family members are like that as well. They'll disown you or like blackball you and make it seem like nobody. Like, they'll make you the black sheep if you don't act the way that they want to, because they know you want they know you need the validation of the family, so they'll use that as leverage for you to be a certain way. I know I can contest to that one though, but they know you value the family's validation and the reputation that you want to have with them, so they'll leverage that against you to make you do whatever it is they say and how they want you to be. The discard stage right now, yeah, the discard phase. I think this is my opinion. The discard phase, the narcissist for real just needs as much excitement as possible. It's gotten boring, so let me cause some ruckus. But also, they're causing that ruckus because there's already another person already secured anyway. You know, I trust me, I got it. I know it's hard. You can get through it though. It takes the acceptance that this is them this entire time. That it takes that acceptance. It hurts to accept it, but you gotta take that the accountability that for me, I had to take the accountability that I chose this person, knowing I know who they were, because for me, and when I recall and have retrospection, and I would hope that, well, not hope, I don't want to hope, that's the wrong word actually for this, what I'm about to say. I would I would assume that the narcissist tells you very early in the relationships that not to have expectation of them. Does that make sense? They'll display and or say it. Like sometimes they'll say it blatantly and you don't even take it serious because the love bomb is so potent. You know, so you be thinking like they'll tell you like my narcissist told me don't have expectations of her straight up. And I didn't. I guess I took it as a joke, you know, ha ha he he or whatever, you know. But this is at the beginning before we even got in the before I even asked me my girlfriend. So it was just like I didn't really take it serious. But no, they tell you stuff like that. Again, the love bomb. I'm just keeping it a stack with you. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather be honest with you about something that happened so that you can understand how you just space. You know what I'm saying? You space. Dang, they did tell me that there is not going to be expectations. Don't have expectations. Going on, Crystal. Yeah, yeah. That's crazy. So it that moment you just said, Crystal, is designed. So peep this, my opinion. Peep this. It's designed like that to get you to continue to gaslight yourself. Because if they can see that you can gaslight yourself, then they can really roam around and do anything free without you questioning them. You know what I'm saying? Uh, I had an example. I don't know if it was bad to say, but it's like a dog with a shock collar. Like you're not gonna go outside this fence because you've been shocked too much. So you're gonna train yourself to be in a certain way in order to appease the owner. You know what I'm saying? I know that's like a wild example, but that's what it is though. It's designed to get so you can gaslight yourself, you know, and question yourself. So and also this too, only the owner can take the collar off. So you know you're not gonna go past that fence unless they take it off anyway. The narcissist they train you to do that so that they know that they can release that pain. They know you see. They know that they can see that you're having because of them. You know that's why the discard is so hard because you still kind of feel like I need them to release this from me since it was caused by them because only they can do it based off the information that they have. The reality is that you can release yourself from it. It's just going to be hard to trust yourself to release yourself from it. You know, for real. To be honest with you, I hope that makes sense. But facts. So I don't want to butcher your first name, so I'm gonna say Logan. But Logan, um, I suck with names. Uh, I said this in the video. The narcissists, once they find that area or bubble, or and they know that they can get people to feed their imaginary whimsical gun world of gumball. once they find that they can do that, they're gonna it's gonna always feel like they got away with. I don't know how YouTube is gonna say that. I ain't gonna say that. I'm just saying they got away with it. They got away with the robbery. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna feel that way because they've already got you to understand that their world is hype. Their world is more hype than yours. So everybody in their world is great over here, but you're not. We're going to shun you. You know what I'm saying? You didn't want to act in my place, so I'm going to shun you. You know, so it feels like when you see them and they see them happy, whatever the case may be, or if you see the social media, which you got to get off social media because that's a part of the journey too. You got to get off there. You got to unfollow all that thing. I'm going to get into that. That's a different video about the social media thing. But it feels like they got away with it because everybody condones it around them and you can see it. But that's only because nobody else can't. They won't. They're not going to confront the narcissist because they have that. They have a their relationship is not genuine. It's just they've built trauma bonds to be friends. They have friends through trauma bonds. We got drunk that one night and we survived this one thing. Now we friends, but in real life, if we didn't drink, we wouldn't have anything in common. Anything. Just understand that, like that world is because everybody hypes it up because everybody wants to have a falsified sense of achievement because they do messed up things. If I'm gonna be honest with you, that's what it is. Why it feels like that because you're like, dang, why is it so happy over here? While I'm sitting here thinking about ruminating about this, because it's designed to make you feel that way. It's just a facade. Hmm. Yeah, the trauma bond. Like you, just just get out. This is it's designed. It's all designed to make you feel that way. How you're feeling is the narcissist intentionally doing that, especially if they're hyping up a new supply. They gotta hype that up. It's gotta be the greatest ever. You know what I'm saying? They're their soulmate all of a sudden in a week. Oh yeah, they gonna hype up all kind of random nonsense things to make it seem like that life without you is amazing. It's so great. I'm finding myself. I'm sorry, y'all. That was just my little 2 cents about it. 'Cause like I said, I don't want to do that little hatred thing, but it's just funny because narcissists can, um, what's how I want to say this? They'll disguise the chaos with some sense of morality that typically most people believe in. Like this is me finding myself treating people like this. They won't say that. They don't want to say that. They don't want you to know that. That's why they'll say they're finding themselves. You know what I'm saying? I know, Crystal, for real though, that's how they like. I'm finding myself straight up. You know what I'm saying? I'm just locked in trying to do me. You know what I'm saying? I'll be like, man, just say that you just want to do crazy stuff, man. Just say that. I'd rather you say that than you sit here and gaslight me like that. It's so wild how they'll gaslight you. And then when you find out about it, because this is what they'll do. This is how, let me tell you the play. The play is this. They'll tell you that they're finding themselves. They'll tell you that they're finding themselves. And then when you figure out that they're not finding themselves, they're finding other people. When you find that out, then they try to make it seem like it's your fault they're doing that. Now you're working in a whole other state of chaos, trying to compete and keep the narcissists around you God, so much energy wasted. Oh yeah, the uh, the new supply is watching you on social media. If you didn't know that, you know now. The new supply is watching you. Whether you met the new supply or you didn't, they're watching you. The narcissist. Have you ever noticed, at least from my experience, the narcissist will make you aware of who past supplies were. Most of the time, those past supplies are still current supplies. They just disguise as friends or somebody in passing, or I know this person through this promotional club or whatever. They're disguised in these titles. That's what I be saying about how they what the play is. They disguise it with regular moral shit. My friends, no, this is a current supply or a shelf supply. We just don't know that. You know what I'm saying? And but just know this: the new supply, just like you at the beginning, who found out and was aware of who supplies were past, current. You are part of that. You are now part of, or you are now added to the story to the next supply. So the new supply knows about you and also is still trying to outwork you, because understand this, just like you were trying to outwork what they were saying. Like you didn't never notice when they were talking about old supplies or current supplies, and then you kind of be like, you don't try to be like them, but you also at the same time you want to be the best boyfriend girlfriend. I told you how they weaponize that, man. And you just try to outdo, but they use it as a means of training you with that collar. I hate using it as an example, but it's kind of just spot on, low key. Look, listen, I don't care what nobody say. Red flag if you talking about your ex. I understand that we might have a random conversation about it because it just so happened to happen. But if it's my ex used to do or whatever, or I remember when such and such, if it's that kind of shit happening too much in conversation, red flag over. Just be done. I would even do it, to be honest with you. I can't tell you how many times where I've told a chick, oh, I'm straight, because all you do is talk about some guy that I'm not going to sit here and be like, I'm not even about to do all that. You know what I'm saying? I already did this. You think I'm about to part two? Nah, you crazy. We ain't doing part two. I mean, I understand your standards. If you can do it for somebody else, I'm not about to do all that. Straight up on everything, Crystal. Yeah, they're the goal is to see, can I train you? Listen. It's a fine. It's a. I also want to say this. It's a fine line and blurred line with genuine and narcissism, for real, for as far as my understanding of my experience in this life. Because there's genuine people who can be like this, there's narcissistic people who can be like this. The thing is that narcissists snitch on themselves. You just gotta pay attention and take it serious when they do. You know, it's not a joke when you talk about your work wife and work husband. It's not a joke. Oh, I got a work wife first. They be saying that's my work husband. Ha ha he. They get you to laugh with it. That's not a joke. That's not funny. You already nothing's funny about that. Oh, my ex used to do that's funny because my ex, that none of that's funny. That's not funny to me. It sure ain't, because you don't want to hear me say my ex. I just it be simple stuff like that, and just like the interactions between you and somebody else trying to get into a relationship where you be like, man, at least for me, I'd be like, yo, what are we talking about? Right. I have to get free at them all the time. You got to find your out, bro. You got to be able to leave. I was just saying this earlier about you get wrapped up in trying to, the family will leverage the family's name to make you act a certain way. They know you want their validation so bad. They know you want that so bad. You got to separate yourself from what they think is valuable and what you think is valuable. What you think is valuable is your own life and your own mental sanity. What's not valuable is doing what everybody else is telling you to do, how they want you to do it in the fashion that is, which is draining yourself. You got to be able to give up uh, their validation and how they see things on you and how they push and project on what's purposeful for you for them. And absolutely. Control, Vera, is control. All that stuff is control. If the narcissist, listen, man, I'm gonna say this, y'all. I gotta make another video, and I gotta make not another. I think I already made one, but I need to dive more into it. While the narcissist will try to keep ties with you in some way, in some fashion, they're gonna try to have some kind of tie with you, whether it's a financial tie or a family tie, you know what I'm saying, or some type of emotional tie. In order to keep you involved with them some way or somehow with something, they're gonna prolong that as much as they can, no matter what it is, because and no matter what it is and how childish it is. Yeah, absolutely. The Yeah, absolutely. I've realized this in life from me and my upbringing with the family members that I had were narcissistic and the ones that weren't. Everybody's not like that. That's a clear understanding. But I also didn't take it seriously, and though until up until this point, everybody's not like that. You do have people that are narcissistic, and you have people that are not, that are genuinely there to care for you and love you while they're here on this earth and spend that time with you in doing so in that fashion. That's why I said about trusting yourself again and being able to trust other people and learning to do that, even if it is scary, because there are people out here in this world that aren't always like that. You got to have that discernment, and you got to be courageous enough to accept that, and don't be too scared of thinking that everybody's out to hurt you. People gonna hurt you. You know what I'm saying? And people gonna be nice to you. It's kind of just what it is, you know. But at the same time, you protect yourself by understanding the signs ahead of time to do so and protect your energy and how you, and because you don't want to live. Okay, you don't want to really live. What's the how I want to describe this? Your peace of mind. You don't want to live a mentally corrupted lifestyle because you've been mentally corrupted by the narcissist, thinking that it's going to always be like this. You want to find a level of peace of mind at some point going through this, and also your journey of just your own acceptance and alignment to make yourself better in the fashion of giving to yourself to be able to give to other people around you is going to give to you in your ROI. My understanding of life is that, again, you find those people, you can use those examples to apply to yourself in order to be better for you. You just so happen to try to do that with a narcissist and got drained by doing so. And also even with the family, trying to please the narcissistic family. You know what I'm saying? The uncles, the aunties, the cousins, all that other nonsense. You know, so what's that? Mm. So to answer your chosen daughter's question, let me make sure I understand it right. It's just to keep your attention. The more and more that they can bother you, and you can always pay attention to them, is to live rent free so they can know they can come back and forth. It's a form of shelving you. Is what it is. It's a form of shelving you. You ever talk to somebody that texts you every 3 to 5 days or whatever the case, but it's a form of shelving you. I'm not saying that that's everybody, but you got to also vet that person on if they're really doing this because they're really busy, quote unquote. But my whole thing is this about your time and with narcissists when they do this kind of shit. If somebody like you, they're gonna make time for you. There's no, I'll never be able to fathom you being too busy. I'll never be able to, because you're looking at your phone. That's never too busy looking at your phone. I'm not going. That's just me. But the narcissist will shelf you in ways in order for you to always pay attention and for them to be able to release your mind of that dependency on their love bomb, so that you won't be so stressed out by them. When you say irritating, it's irritating on the fashion that they don't have to. It doesn't have to be like this. Yeah, that's what I'm getting. But I think if you're really fed up with the person of doing this and it's irritating, they're just doing that to keep a sense of connection in between you. So in the moment that I'm ready to take you serious now, they can do that, and then don't take you serious, and y'all do the game for whatever however amount of months, because they can come back. I'm ready to do it serious now. I'm serious. What's up? You know what I'm saying? They do the game, and then go back to the in and out of life. It's just a form of shuffling. If they can't, if anybody, guy or girl, can't just commit to you, man, you gotta try and make it work. I just I don't see the point of talking. That's me though. I've just gotten too simple with certain things. Facts, not for real, Crystal. Facts. But I appreciate the question though, chosen. Just say don't want to live in fear mentally. Yeah, my opinion. Yeah, you don't want to. The fear of what a narcissist thinks of you is devastating, because not only have they made it important for you to fear them, you pedestalize the validation from them. That's why it's so rough when it's over and said and done, and they're not around. That's why that withdrawal is so rough, because you're used to it and you need it almost. You know what I'm saying? I'm just keeping the stack with you. You need it almost, but you gotta break out of that. You gotta be able to get that, to get to grow from that infant stage back into your adult stage, back into you. You know, like for real. I think it's really vital that you take your awareness of what you're seeing right now in these moments, and when your emotions is like this, when people treat you like this, and take these moments and understand again, there's people like this and there's some people that's not. You know, and this is how I navigate amongst these people, because there's only so much that you can really do and say when it comes to dealing with narcissistic people before it becomes too damaging to your own mind, and to where you can't even climb out of this. There's some people in the world that's ruminating about events 30 years ago and can't move forward mentally. Just the days is just passing, but they're stuck in the same hamster wheel because they can't get over what happened 30 years ago. There's people actually out here like that, straight up. Facts, crystal facts. Yo, I appreciate that, Logan. I really do. You know what I'm saying? I really just hope my experiences help people when I'm making these videos and saying this stuff. You know what I'm saying? But when I guess I didn't really start taking it serious until I started coaching, and then it was like, oh man, people really be going through it. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know that that was that serious, to be honest with you. I thought, like most people, when you wake up from the nonsense, the chaos, that it's just you. A lot of survivors think it's always just them. It's the crazy. It's the wild. It's so wild to me, the phenomenon of that. It's like that. I thought it was just me. No, it's a whole lot. It's just not. It's just not. I don't know. I feel like narcissist. I feel like this realm, if you rather, is not really big, because again, I'll see content where people downplay it, where this don't even exist. Ain't no such thing. You know what I'm saying? That's not real. Or people don't like the fact that some people are calling people on your bullshit, so they'll say this is not real, because they want to still be able to manipulate that accountability. And it's weird to me that that even exists like that. You know? Yes, your isolation. I tell you. Let me tell y'all something, man. Let me say this straight up. I ain't Since then. I remember when it first happened. And I was like, dude, I don't like feeling like this. I don't like feeling this way. I don't like feeling like this about myself, not liking myself, not liking the fact that I accepted so much nonsense, not liking the fact that I feel punked and beat up and bullied and all this other stuff. Like I didn't like nothing about it. And there were so many distractions that I put in my face that were never given ROI. So like when I sat to myself and stopped going to parties, stopped going to clubs, stopped hanging out with people that are narcissistic and don't even know that. Because again, you start to see, the backhanded compliments. So you're the one. So you've been doing backhanded compliments since we were in middle school. This is why your energy is like this towards me. This is why we really never had a true connection for real. But I just been your friend just off the sake of off the sake. You start peeping this stuff out because you start to pull back and start looking like, wait a minute, who else? You know what? I need to not do this. I need to do certain things that's going to fill my cup up. You know, I need to be able to find my self worth, my value. You know, because obviously people only value my company for fun. You know what I'm saying? And whenever you talk about growth and trying to get into a better place, a better mindset, people gonna look at you weird. You know, and doing so again, going through that process of isolation helped me understand like one, not everybody really cares about their self growth like that, really cares about their own personal value and how they can give it to a significant other, you know, and then two, there's so much damn distraction out here. Like it's just I hadn't really realized how I just didn't take myself serious the way that I thought that I did until I isolated myself and was like, I need to take myself serious, and I have been lacking in these areas. You know, because you get to see and hear yourself again. You get to accept that you hear yourself, and then you can align yourself with other people who seem to be the same way because you have that discernment. Like Crystal said, when you get isolation, you have discernment because you'll be able to. You won't be around the pattern of chaos anymore. You have peace of mind to think. You know what I'm saying? Have that autonomous behavior. Think for self. Doing world things. Facts. Yeah, yeah. You're definitely not weak, man. You even watching this stream. Whenever you watch content like this, check this. Hold on, let me get this opinion out. Facts, facts, Laura. So here's the thing, man. Your ability, whenever you, this is one thing that I feel like is also kind of like divine intervention too, because when you start to become aware, when you start to seek out this kind of knowledge, I don't know about for y'all, but for me, I'm gonna speak from my perspective because I don't know. When you start to seek out this knowledge, it was almost like you were supposed to learn this. Like this is shit that's not going to be taught to you in school. Are you catching what I'm saying? Like this wasn't going to be taught to you. And most people don't even know. You know what I'm saying? So like when you start to seek this kind of knowledge so you can get a better understanding of what's happening in the world, like it's a sign that you're on, not only is it a sign that you're on the right path, you're already a leap ahead of where you initially started from, because you have the awareness to know that I've got to figure out how to not feel this way. I've got to figure out what this is, you seeking the knowledge. You know, it's a wild phenomenon to me as well when survivors be saying, "I found this video and it's help," like because when you're seeking this, you're seeking healing. You know what I'm saying? You're putting yourself in a mental state to heal. You're putting yourself in a perpetual state to continue to make this a journey. You're becoming aware of it, and it's an amazing thing when you do so. You know what I'm saying? It's a very amazing thing that you're finding because you can curate your feed with this, man. You know what I'm saying? Curate your feed with this. You can always have this as a reminder that you're on the right path, the right healing journey to get the wisdom. Like I said, for me, I made a dream board on wallpaper on my phone, so it has all my goals and stuff like that, so I can wake up and see my goals. Dealing with a narcissist, all you see is chaos. Your brain is going to be taught that that's normal. So my understanding was if I just see it as much as I need to, then my brain will curate and make the habit, and then I'll get into the mood and also affect my spiritualness about how I feel about everything else, about what I'm working towards. So I put things in my visual perspective for me to understand. So again, when I wake up and open my phone, whether it's lock screen or whatever the case may have you, I see I see my family goals, whatever the case, what I'm working towards. I'm able to see that and give myself affirmations of, dang, this is what I'm doing. Curating my my environment. You know, the narcissist is good at curating your environment for you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I really do. Hey, bro, with this, I realized I was around there was narcissists throughout my life. So, all right, chosen daughter. I we all got stories with the new supply. It's so messed up when the new supply knows about you. It also displays the length of manipulation the narcissist goes through because the new supply thinks you're the villain too. They that's why I say they when they find that world in that bubble that can keep up their imaginary idea of the gumball world. When they find that world and it looks like that they won and they're off in the sunset, better in life without you. When they find that world, they're going to leverage that to always make you feel otherwise. You know what I'm saying? And when they get the new supply to aid with it too, that's why it feels so bad. When they get the new supply to aid in the chaos, and the new supply knows better, man. This is my perspective of it. When you see people who do that mindlessly, like the flying monkeys, like the Wizard of Oz, and the monkeys just do whatever she was saying, the Wicked Witch of the West, like that's your understanding of separation because you wouldn't do that. You don't see the need of doing that. That's the separation. That's the understanding. You know what I'm saying? Right there. You wouldn't do that. You wouldn't do that to people. Let alone do that. Let alone you wouldn't talk to somebody who was already talking to somebody. But the new supply don't mind that, and but you do mind that because you have respect for yourself. That's the separation. That's the understanding. That's how you know you're not like these people and or a villain because you wouldn't do that. Villains like to yell truth until you believe it. You know what I'm saying? But their actions is never true. That's what I'm saying. Hmm. Facts, super facts. And suggestions on to proceed while staying in no contact. We have no children. If you got one of those narcissists that likes to keep contacting you, block, change your number. I changed my number. I'm not listen. The emotional tie, I understand. I got it. I truly believe that and I got it. Block. You don't have to again, let me give you my perspective of this because it might be some pushback. I don't know. But at least it helped me on my journey. I've forgiven anybody that's ever done me wrong, narcissistic or not, in my life up until this point. I have to. You know what I'm saying? I got kids. I don't want to have that energy teaching my kids that. You know what I'm saying? So having kids, my perspective is a little bit different on how I handle any relationship with anybody. But as far as like where I'm at now, maybe I might have handled it a little bit differently back back then if I didn't know. But now that I know, and you're asking me that question, block. There's nothing else to talk about. It really ain't. You know what I'm saying? I don't need to know anything about this one situation that you decided not to talk to me about and give me a clarity on. I don't need to talk about your mom. I don't need to talk about let's catch up and hang out. Like I'm not doing none of that shit. Like this is not that. It shouldn't be that. You should have a level of respect. You should have to want to have a level of respect of yourself to tell this person, go relax and go ride out. You know what I'm saying? You want to do all this chaos nonsense, go do that over there with whomever that is. Because obviously they're with it, and that's why you're doing that. And you obviously see that I'm not doing it because I'm holding you accountable. No contact is going to be key. If you have no kids, I see you. I don't hate you. I see you. You know what I'm saying? I see you when I see you. I'm not doing all that. Straight up. Nothing wrong with. Wait a minute. I had a few coworkers try to talk to me, and they're married, and they saw nothing wrong. Yeah, Crystal. You be you'd be surprised how many narcissists have convinced uh, people to be unconventional with relationships. I'm gonna just say that. Let's do that because I don't know how YouTube takes that stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna just do it like that. If you catch my drift, like narcissists will convince you to be unconventional when it comes to your love interests. Let's say that. Let's do that. Because I don't know how. I don't know. I really don't know how YouTube will take that. You know, but I peep, and it's messed up because they'll disguise it as this is just my platonic friend. We do platonic stuff. God, I sometimes I look back and I be like, dang man, she was just saying all kind of nonsense stuff. Anything we bury grows their experiences, emotional blocks to the surface. So many videos I got in the pipeline for this stuff that y'all saying, man. What you say, Vera? Complete no contact. Oh yeah, and then work on yourself. You know what I'm saying? I say in most of my videos, I advise you just to start working on your health and wellness. The more and more you do things that center yourself and that give yourself an ROI for your time and effort, the more and more you'll realize like the importance of talking to somebody who doesn't find importance in you only for moments and for thrill sake. That's how you find self-worth for real, for real. You know what I'm saying? Because you understand your time is very important. Absolutely, Laura, for sure. People business. So the I got another one a video on a pipeline, but I'm gonna just give a little piece of it for the narcissistic co-parenting shit. I co-parent with my oldest. This is the thing, man. This is one thing that I gotta understand. Like, my parents make me think of this too. What you just said, your triggers, your you gotta learn to be neutral because there's another situation. I'm not gonna go too far into it. It's just somebody's personal situation. I'm gonna just try to go around it as much as I can. What your children see, how you and the parent how they interact is vital for their understanding of human interactions with other humans. So the narcissist, neutralize the narcissist is you being neutral, gray rocking, not letting them trigger you, not showing any emotion to the, not showing that reaction, just responding. You know what I'm saying? Because you just already know how it's going to be. So you might as well just be neutral anyway. You already know how they're going to be. Just be neutral. You know what I'm saying? And that the narcissist over time will accept that you being neutral. They have to because you're not going to react the way that they used to. No matter how spiteful they may be, you still got to be neutral because that way, in my opinion, the kids will formulate an ideal of you don't have to have reactions to everything that somebody does to you that's negative. You know what I'm saying? Your response is going to always really have a put you in a better alignment for safety reasons. Safety reasons more importantly than anything. You know, that's my viewpoint on that because you're stuck with a narcissist. And I hate to say it like that because it's like I got it, you know, but you got to be neutral as possible to be honest to neutralize the situation so they can understand that you're not going to give them that rise while they torment the new supply. I gotta say that because they're gonna take it out the new supply. When you're neutral, they take that unreactionariness of you and take it out on New Supply, especially New Supply know about you. You're not, you see what you did, they're not getting a reaction out of you anymore because of you. If you think these conversations are not happening with New Supply, I can assure you they are. Mm-hmm. Oh, no worries, Vero. It's weird. Energized healing and fitness. What's going on? What's going on? But yeah, it's 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 super weird, um, chosen, because you'll start to see why I call it a circus, Barnum and Bailey. You'll start to see that. You'll start to see the circus in the narcissist and why it's fun for them to do crazy stuff because they have nothing else better to do besides consume themselves with this kind of reality. It's wild and weird to really accept, but it's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? It's not to, again, it's not to think better than, it's just to understand the separation between these people and who you are. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, narcissists is always going to be in competition. Especially narcissists in relationships, they're going to always compete with their partner. That's why they gotta demoralize you and beat you down and get you to gaslight. You know what I'm saying? Because they gotta do that. Hit the thumb. Oh, I appreciate you, Crystal. I do. You know, but I do appreciate y'all for coming through, y'all. My phone is about to die, so I'm probably gonna go live later on tonight. I do got a video coming out tonight as well, though. But I appreciate you for coming through, though. I really do, y'all. And I got so many. I got all right. I got I got more videos, y'all. I really do. Dang, my phone about to die, But I appreciate y'all for coming through, y'all. Uh, yeah, for sure, for sure. Y'all gonna see me later, man. I'm gonna go live more often too. Go get my charger and get back on. Nah, cause then the mic don't work. You know what? Hold on, man. I don't know, but if I take the mic off, it's going to not isolate the noise. That's why I got this mic to begin with, because it isolates the noise around me. There's a lot of stuff going on right now, and then you're gonna hear it on the video. So I'm gonna go live later, y'all. I'm gonna go live later. Just be there, be there or be square. I'm gonna do it 9:30 Eastern. I'm Eastern time, so 9:30 Eastern tonight. I'm gonna get back on. I'm gonna have my phone charged, and we can go more off into it. You feel me? So I appreciate y'all for coming through. I'm gonna catch y'all later, man. And I appreciate y'all for checking out my content. All right, y'all. Peace.